going to get that jungle attention.
Yeah, that's going to be the question, honestly. How is Xiaowei going to perform? And look at this ban phase already. We're talking about Xiaowei. Immediately, he's going to be focused out by Vici Gaming. Aurelion Sol taken off the board is something he loves to go for. These control mages, that kind of style is very much in Xiaowei's wheelhouse. Cassiopeia taken off the board is going to be answered by Akali.
I like the Aurelion Sol as well because it is a pocket pick for Xiaowei, but also that it does so much in the roaming. I mean, this seems to be the definition of this meta nearly is try and influence the mid lane enough or get your mid laner off his roams.
Stone Cold focus on Koma's face there. You see, there was even a little eye twitch. He's like something out of an anime battle scene where they like zoom in on the eyes. Man,
I'm ready to see like the cartoon, like, you know, the little lines coming off him and the light shines in behind him. It's like, yeah, I can see it going that way.
That's one thing that I think when you look at the LPL and the LCK compared to the Western regions, I feel like there's much more defined characters here, but either way, we'll get more into this draft right now. Elite's going to be taken off the board as well as Lucian, and it was the Mordekaiser banned away by DMO. So now into the picks, it's going to be a Rumble for the first pick.
I was curious to see what Vici we're going to go with here. So, as we said, Koma goes for very much, I have a game plan for each of these games, and not picking up the Kiana in that first pick means that they're going for a much more team fight orientated style. They're trying to play to where Vici did have some success. So they will pick up the Rumble, more than likely going towards Forge. And you compare this with pretty much all the junglers that are up at the moment to try and create that big team fight style of composition.
Yeah, Rumble has been such a strong mid laner. We've seen it. I think we saw one pick of it in the top lane as well, but it has been very much primarily in that mid lane. Will not be surprised at all if that goes over to Forge. On the other side of things, we do have the Leona and Aphelios locked in for Gala and Mark. We've been saying that we want to see Gala popping off. Aphelios is a pick that you can pop off on, but we've seen many AD carries in the LPL fail so far.
A lot of AD carries in the LPL have failed. I forgot to look up the win rate actually after yesterday, but
it ain't good.
Not looking good. It's not looking pretty.
There we go. Senna's going to be the answer on the side of VG. Looks like I mean, Braum, top tier support right now. There's a lot of options available, but Braum just makes complete sense.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much going back into what we already talked about for Vici. You've got very much a team fight oriented squad coming in. Senna is fantastic in these scenarios and providing both the heals off of the piercing darkness and also the ultimate being able to provide the shields, all that damage on top of it as well. Great team fight composition at the moment. And the beautiful thing here is that, I mean, usually you want to pair the Rumble with something like a Jarvan or, you know, this kind of keep them all locked in so we can get the Rumble damage down. But you've still got stuff like the Rek'Sai left open that can do a very similar style. So Vici haven't been pushed out of the jungle just yet.
I'm curious to see if Quinn will have any presence in this draft now that the Renekton is locked in on the side of DMO. And whether DMO are even bold enough to maybe ban that away. However, the Rumble is already there. So maybe they'll just think Forge is going for that regardless.
And I think you could potentially still go for it if that Renekton's going towards the top lane, but something that the LPL does like to do is flex that Renekton into the mid lane, and then you've got this double bruiser style comp with Aphelios being your main damage dealer in the backline. The big question for me though is if Xiaowei would have the Renekton there to play, because as we said before, bit of a different champion pool for this guy.
Yeah, I love the Nidalee ban here from VG. It's a respect ban going on towards Xiaopeng. You can see Koma has really done his research coming into this draft. Pretty much every ban has been targeted. They've all been specifically aiming at players on this roster.
Yeah, and as well, I like that they're going for stuff like the Elise to get rid of that, just providing that early game pressure that maybe Xiaopeng can get out on the map and try to disrupt what the game plan for Vici is. But we are going to look at the Orin banned away. Aurelia is going to be banned away by DMO on the opposite side. Imagine the last ban again is going to be towards that jungle. Potentially something like a Lee Sin, but we'll have to see. DMO, we're going to have the first pick in the jungle, so may not want to limit that champion pool too much.
Gragas taken off the board as well, so now time to find out where DMO want to go with this one. There are still a decent amount of jungle picks available. I don't know if I'm blind. Is Kiana still available?
Kiana is still available.
Why has Kiana not been locked in yet? I feel like Kiana should have been the big priority at the start of this draft. It's going to be Jarvan locked in. I mean, it's still, I don't know why VG wouldn't just go Kiana. Yeah.
You take Kiana now because you've given yourself, with that Jarvan, the Cataclysm provides another wall for Kiana to work with, or at least to get this set up. And as well, you've already got the Rumble there, so you've got a very potent combo with the Braum, the Rumble, and that Kiana. If you go for the Supreme Display of Talent, this can just melt teams in a matter of seconds.
So Kiana, I mean, Kiana's just insanely strong. Like, it is one of these picks that I feel like in most compositions, you can just go for it right now on sheer strength alone.
Yeah.
We'll see what they're going to finish their composition on with. But over on the other side of the board, DMO will still need to pick in either a mid laner or a top laner. Obviously, the Renekton can be flexed either way. And if this Kennen is locked in as well, that Renekton probably wants to go to the mid lane.
Well, the Renekton can still do relatively well in the early stages of the matchup because you can close the distance with the slice and dice and try and get onto the Kennen, but still not amazing. But yeah, the Aatrox, this is again very much a skill matchup in the top lane, or very snowbally in either direction. Renekton will have a slight advantage in the early stages because can dodge away from those Q procs, but as that lane starts to progress and Aatrox gets a couple of points into that Q, should be able to take over that matchup.
We've got another player here that loves to hover the Zilean. Oh, it's actually going to be locked in. Zilean.
Well, this is what we were talking about. Xiao Wei being that much more supportive jungler. Supportive mid laner even. It was a Lulu. It was the Karma. Well, one more support. We got the Zilean.
Let's do this. I was going to make a joke about Mark and Kasing both hovering Zilean every game. He's just going to lock it in. This wasn't a hover. Xiao Wei bringing Zilean to the table in that mid lane. This is going to be an interesting matchup there. Zilean versus Rumble. I feel like Zilean does pretty decently in that matchup. He can play very safe.
Yeah, can play far back, push in the wave super easily. You will see the Zilean go back, pick up an early tier, so then you can keep your mana up and running. The biggest problem that I see, though, is that Zilean's kind of like the Morgana, where I keep one person safe, but I can't do a huge amount for everyone on this team. And when you've got such a big wombo combo coming through, it makes it very difficult for you to keep the right person safe. You're going to be looking at Gala to make sure they can play far enough back that they're not getting caught out, and that Zilean ult is getting decent use, and not just the front line gets melted, oh, a Gala's safe, he goes down 2 seconds later.
Oh, we're talking about Gala, we were talking about iBoy. That's the matchup you got to keep your eyes on in that bottom lane. Gala gonna have his hands on the Aphelios. iBoy gonna be rocking the Senna as well. Both brand new champions pretty much heading down to that bottom lane. We'll see who's gonna get the best of that matchup this time around. iBoy's got the history behind him, but Gala is hungry for a win.
I think there's a lot of hungry players on both these rosters. Everyone trying to make a name for themselves in the LPL. Now that you've got new eyes watching after that back-to-back World Championship win, a lot more people are keeping their eyes on this region, and a lot more people will be watching this game to see what are the names to look for in the future of Chinese League of Legends.
Yeah, and if there wasn't already pressure on Gala, the fact that they're running a Zilean mid lane, it's literally saying, okay, Gala, this one's on you, buddy. You got to be the carry. We're going to have Natural doing a bit of damage on the Renekton as well, but...
It's fine. They got Renekton for late game. Renekton late game scaling.
We'll have to see if you can get the right weapons at the right times. It's about time we head on to Summoner's Rift and kick this series off.
Apparently there's just no cheers this time. Very silent crowd. Never mind.
Well, are there 3 teams?
We both got baited. It's fine. It's fine.
I don't know. I give up.
We'll get used to this. We'll get used to it.
I want to talk a little bit about VG before the action kicks off here. Now, Vici Gaming is an organization with a bit of a history here. They're coming on into this season. They've brought in Cube and Forge, both rookie talents with huge potential. They've brought in iBoy, a veteran with world's experience from EDG, a huge legacy behind him. They've brought in Kokoma, a 3-time world championship coach. This guy builds legends. If this roster can't get them to the top of the scoreboard, they are cursed.
But I feel like I've heard this before for Vici. I mean, they brought in Pumandu, who was supposed to be the world championship player who's going to be the best coach. They were supposed to bring in Dandy and Osomada, and this was the roster that was to kickstart Vici Gaming to get them to that top spot. But every time we see Vici Gaming with the world championship X, they always end up just falling short.
But what if they get the coach that made all of those guys world champions? Well, aside from the Samsung guys, but I don't know. I have faith in Coma, man. This guy is a living legend within esports. This guy, he transcends League of Legends. He is one of the most prolific coaches of all time, especially when it comes to League of Legends. And I mean, 3-time world champion, but most importantly, SKT brought in rookies before when they were building rosters, and it was Coma that brought them to the forefront, handpicked these players, and then trained them up. He chose to be on Vici Gaming. He didn't have to leave Korea. He believes in this lineup, and I'm excited to see what he can do with it.
And that's the thing, is that I have faith in this roster as well. But, I mean, when you look at iBoy, who's always been that almost player, I put him as, trying to reach the top, try to reach the levels of Uzi and Jackie Love. You've got Forge as well, who's coming out from underneath the shadow of Rookie, where he was just kind of the, filler for the moment until we get our actual person back. Now Cube coming up as this new developmental talent. There's a lot here for Vici Gaming to build on, and as we said, hungry players, people who are trying to create that legacy for themselves, both new and old.
Yeah, and I mean, that's all that Coma needs, right? When he looks at a player like iBoy, he's chosen to work with iBoy. He knows that this guy wants the wins. He knows that this guy wants to prove himself, and he's here to help make that happen.
Well, look, Coma, if you're listening, I'm a hungry player.
If you're not
I'm willing to
right
put
now.
in the work. You know, I want to be there. I'm totally fine with trying to play
The
for
first
Vici
Irish
Gaming.
talent in the LPL.
First Irish talent to play outside of Ireland. Let's be realistic. we aren't
quite
too
true,
hot.
is it?
I mean,
I
we
don't
got
know.
to the UK. That's kind of our upper end.
The dream.
The dream.
UK
yeah.
esports, baby. Oh dear. Well, good luck with that. I wish
appreciate it.
you
Thank you.
luck in your career as a support.
Call me. You know.
Yeah, we'll see.
1, 2, 3.
I'll
LPL.
see if I can get you guys in touch. I do want to talk a little bit about DMO here as well, because coming on into this series, even before the draft, it was very clear that DMO were coming in here, changing the style. First series of the tournament for them, it was against IG. Didn't look good, obviously. It was going to be rough going up against IG as we head back on into the game. They changed their style. They subbed out Bless. They subbed out GA. They've got Zhao Peng, and Xiao Wei stepping back on into the roster here. So they're kind of going back to their old style. But then in the draft, that's very clearly the case as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we saw come out of them, that had that almost miracle run for them towards the end of summer where they nearly made it into playoffs. It was have Xiao Wei onto something that could push in a wave, then roam with Xiao Peng and try and get natural going. And still this supportive style mid laner that's enabling the rest of the team. And we're seeing a very similar story here where you can have Xiao Wei enable the likes of Natural and this Renekton to dive towards the backline, speed him up to get in there and be this nuisance that gets the revive, that now is able to heal himself up again, come just such a pesky croc for Vici to deal with.
All right, Dagda, I want to pick your brain now as the analyst in this little gang.
Wait,
Talk to me. I'm afraid I'm putting you on the spot. Putting you on the spot. Talk to me about kind of the forecast for this game here. As I think Ike's just got absolutely denied that. Actually, maybe he wants to contest this one.
They do have the bot lane pushed in, so iBoy and Maestro are able to come across. Xiao Peng has got to give this one up.
Maestro's moved on up, but Aix is nervous to actually force the issue on that one. Or just struggling in these trades against Xiao Wei. He's having a fun time there on the Zillion. Looks like Scuttle Crab is the play for now. And it looks like Blue Buff is going to get taken by Xiao Peng in the end. So, as we reset, I want to ask you, what's your forecast for this game? Who's going to be playing early? Who's going to be playing mid? Who's going to be just stalling out for 50 minutes?
Well, I'm hoping that nobody's stalling out for 50 minutes.
Please not a repeat of yesterday.
100% not. I want to see Xiao Peng look towards that top side, though. We already talked about how this can be a pretty volatile matchup where if you're able to get this Renekton rolling early, can snowball that lane, and just to have Natural in control of that top side means you don't have to worry about any pesky Rift Heralds come over. But is hovering around this bottom side at the moment. We know that Gal is the big damage dealer for this team, so getting the affiliates rolling will be great, but has no idea that Xiao Peng is standing on a ward.
Yeah, he's completely spotted out there. iBoy and Maestro know what is going on here. The root is going to land, though, here, and that means Mark can go all in for this one. Maestro's next. iBoy steps away, though. They're going to be just about fine on this one. They did pop a heal and a cleanse.
So you do see the Summoner spells burned. A little bit sloppy from Vici. expecting iBoy and Maestro to be able to bait out the engage, but I don't think they really were expecting that heavy of engage. They did get the flash out of Mark though, so won't have to deal with that too much. But now Ike's is able to clear up towards the top side. We'll have to see where this Qiyana wants to make her first gank known. More than likely waiting for that level 6 with the Supreme Display of Talent up and available before they enter onto the map.
Yeah, it's such a massively impactful ability. And as you touched on during the draft, when you're against a Jarvan as Qiyana, obviously Cataclysm does count as a wall. You can use that to extend the Supreme Display of Talent, make that ultimate even more impactful. And we've seen countless times in competitive play that Qiyana can absolutely be a huge difference maker. But when it's comboed with the equalizer from Forge, suddenly that goes from a pretty good stun to a game-winning stun.
And just in case you needed a little bit of backup there as well, Maestro with the Glacial Fissure, just to add the little cherry on top to that wombo combo. And I think this is where we're going to see a few of these guys struggle if you do end up in the team fights, particularly if Vici start to get control of this early game, and they're the ones that are setting up vision. As DMO, especially around that Baron pit, are trying to move in to claim back that vision, it's very easy for Forge to lay down the equalizer, to have Ike's come over the wall with the Qiyana and set up these big plays. As we talked about, we do have Xiao Wei who can do a little bit when it comes to keeping people alive, but when there's so much AoE burst, it's very difficult to work your magic across everyone.
Well, we got what we asked for in the top lane. We've got Cube and we've got Natural, both on aggressive picks. Mark actually going down in the bottom lane here. Maestro will return a little bit of damage there, but Mark not going to be quite stunned up by the Braum passive. But back up to the top lane, we've got Cube. He's on the Aatrox. We've got Natural on the Renekton. We were saying get Cube off of Ornn duty, get him on something that he can really have an impact on. That's exactly what we're going to see here. The question for me is, who's going to win out toe-to-toe? Because that's kind of a skill matchup too, but we've got to fight down in the bottom lane. Mark going to be jumping in onto the front line as iBoy goes down. Maestro's the next target, flashing away over the wall. And Ike's has got nothing he can do about it.
Unfortunately, Ike's isn't able to do as much as Xiaopeng in these early skirmishes right now.
Cube's going in. He wants this 1v1 with Natural. Natural's just hit level 6, but there's another fight in the bottom lane. There's the flash. There's the frag and drag. It's going to be Xiaopeng trying to finish things off, but Maestro is unbreakable.
Flag and drag won't pick up the frag for them in that opportunity. Xiaopeng early manages to get the knock up onto the AD carry, but this is again Dominus winning out in this bottom lane. Xiao Wei, we talked about him wanting to get out and roam, having impact on these side lanes. We're already seeing it with that roam towards the bottom lane.
The top lane skirmish does turn out not to be anything in the end. Natural does have Dominus still available. Didn't have to use it in that skirmish. So he has the potential to go for a play there. We'll see if he's confident enough to try and find a 1v1.
Yeah, I think Cube and Natural, with the way that this game is going, are going to be left to their own devices. See who really does come out on top when it comes to these, because with plays like this, where you've already burnt the cleanse onto the Senna and the heal as well, the return gank is always up on the card. Ike's tries to predict it to come down, but unfortunately without that Supreme Display of Talent, you don't have the same impact as the Jarvan in that play. So with Mark, with Xiaopeng having the double CC, it's such an easy job for Gala to pick up the kill.
Yeah, it's so rough when you're in the situation of Maestro there in that kind of fight. Braum before level 6, all you can do, you know, you throw out a Q, you can give your AD carry a little bit of armor and MR, and then throw up Unbreakable and hope that you can block everything before it hits them. If not, that's all you've got.
But that's why I was surprised to see iBoy and Maestro play so far up in that first gank. I thought they would back off, just go, look, we've already wasted a huge amount of Xiaopeng's time, so all we have to do is back away and make sure we're not giving anything back, and we'll be fine. Unfortunately, though, they burnt both those summoner spells, which now gives the opportunity for them to punish, and Vici Gaming potentially to be punished again with no flashes on that bottom lane. And again, we're looking at Xiaopeng going to hand over that blue buff, but to potentially visit that bottom lane again.
This top lane is hilarious to me because they're sparring so aggressively with one another, but they both have so much sustain that none of it... Oh, Xiaopeng stepped away as the bomb exploded. Dear me, here we go. Dominus coming on out. Natural wants the solo kill onto Cube, but he's going to be able to walk away with his life there. The bonus movement speed gets him out.
You can see how close this matchup is, and that's why I was talking about it being so volatile. Renekton does have a slight edge here, and potentially could go for the dive. Cube needs to be careful.
He's going
he hit the turret!
Oh, he hit the turret! Oh! Unlucky. iBoy was waiting, though. iBoy wanted him to go for that one. That would have been a really good turn from the side of VG.
That was still quite close, so that shield from iBoy right now isn't that large, and with the full stack, or full fury on the Renekton, could have dealt quite a large chunk of damage. I don't think it would have been enough, but Natural forced the flash away, and just a small misplay from the Dominus top lane.
Well, it's going to be rewarded with a dragon now for the side of DMO. They knew that Ike's had gone back to the base, and that means that they have control of this bottom side of the map. Now, the question will be, Rift Herald is available. You can see a ping there already from DMO.
Rift Herald is there, but I wait to see if the supports are going to move, because that's the real decider on who actually wins out in that fight. We've started to see this where the AD carries will generally stay towards the bottom lane. Maybe they'll roam out, but you want to make sure you've got that man advantage on the top side. And with Gala potentially not having the Infernum, may not have the wave clear to be able to allow Mark to roam up. And same with iBoy. The Senate isn't great at clearing these waves, so I think it'll be more waiting and hanging on until they've got some control of mid or top before they go for that objective. But as I say it, Mark and Gala are actually starting to roam up, so they want to try and catch out iBoy, who's had to stay for a wave in the bottom lane, and we relate to the play with Maestro.
Well, they are heading on towards this top side of the map. All 5 members in the top half for the side of Dominus. Vici Gaming going to be responding as the teleport comes in from Forge just to get in the mid lane, make sure he's in position in time. Things like the Equalizer will be available. Oh, Natural already starting to fight off on towards Cube. He's going to be able to get a bit of movement speed, but in comes Xiao Peng as well. Cube does have flash, so they decide not to use the Cataclysm just yet. Natural taking a good chunk of damage back. Cube doing a great job to trade there.
Especially with the amounts of members that were up that direction. Cube having the peace of mind to realize I can turn around with a good chunk of my own damage to make sure that both top laners have to back, and they're not going to be able to get an advantage off of the health that I've just lost. Natural, though, is going to move down to the top, or the bottom lane, realizing, look, there's a big wave that's about to collapse onto that turret. We can't have that gold going away while Gala and Mark are playing around this top side Rift Herald.
And now, after Cube's heroic actions in the top lane to survive there, it means that his team can get priority onto this Rift Herald. They're going to be rewarded with this objective. Natural, in the meantime, has had to go down towards that bottom lane, towards the bottom side of the map. And we'll see where VG are going to use this Herald and where they're going to rearrange themselves around this map.
You can already see the start, so the Cube is starting the back to go and answer for Natural in the bottom lane. You still got 2.5 minutes before that dragon is up, so I'd imagine 1 to 2 waves will be pushed in by the AD carries here on the top side, and then rotate down. You want to give yourself about 90 seconds as to when that dragon is spawning before you start your back, because then you should be able to get there, set up the vision for yourself, and then start to look towards that mountain drake.
Decent pickup of the Herald, though. There wasn't too many plates taken by the side of DMO. They got 1 plate down in that bottom side of the map there. But that's one of the most important things to look out for when there's a Herald being taken is, what are you sacrificing to get priority of that objective? Because you'll only get 2 of 3 plates from a Herald.
Well, a lot of that actually already came from the pressure that Xiao Peng and Xiao Wei had created on the bottom side of the map. We said it to begin with, when you see Xiao Peng, they tend to gank towards Gala and Mark. This seems to be the trio that they go for. And now that they've got Xiao Wei in instead of Xie, it's able to get that Zillion out of lane to help out. So a lot of this was created from the pressure previously. And as you pointed out, Munch, when you've got that Rift Herald, you're trying to get, maybe 2 plates out of it because of the changes. And I know we've mentioned this in a couple of days in the trot. This is day 7, but just for any new viewers, the Rift Herald is changed. Doesn't get you all 3 plates like it used to. You need to have a bit more backup power to finish off that 3rd plate. So the fact that DMO have got this already turret low, it screams a lot better for the DMO bot lane.
Well, everybody from DMO gathering around the bottom side of the map here. It's about time that they make a play, it seems. Looks like they might just be able to get this one out of sheer pressure alone without having to go for the dive, but they might get it. Anyway, Mark looks like he wants to go. And that's one of the beautiful things about this Zillion. You can just speed your Leona up and Mark can charge on it.
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying. And especially, I mean, you can speed up anyone on this team. Xiao Peng, Natural, Mark, they can all work wonders there. Now we're going to see the Rift Herald tossed down in the top lane, though, to try and answer for the play on the bottom side.
All right.
Problem is, there's no turret plates left.
DMO have lost a lot of turrets to Rift Heralds before. Let's see what the answer is from them. They're going to lose this first one. That's fair enough. I just want to make sure that they don't lose an inhibitor turret off the back of this. Natural's going to be here to answer. This time, they're going to be all right.
They're fine. Natural did a decent job there of moving away from the play around the tower, knowing, look, if we're committing 4 members to bottom lane, the natural response for Vici is to try and make a player on the top side.
Look at that turret plate gold. So much going the way of DMO there. That is a massive advantage for them. It's under 1,000 total. Still a good advantage.
It's on to Gala, though, which is the big one. Plus 280 for the 80 carry of DMO. And we already talked about how Gala needs to be the one to carry this game. Has to be the one that can step up because Natural will fall off. Xiaowei is more of a supportive mid laner on the Zillion. The damage has to come from Aphelios, and they're giving the resources to this, which is why we're seeing the Essence Reaver and a Pickaxe already completed versus the Manamune, which is definitely not as expensive as that Essence Reaver.
It's certainly not as expensive, and it's less of a spike until later on in the game as well. So Gala feeling strong right now on the Aphelios. And importantly, it's an Infernal Soul coming to town right here. DMO with 2 dragons already. They've got the Cloud and the Mountain for themselves. It's going to be a little bit of CDR, a little bit of armor and MR, and now an Infernal Drake is going to be the next one for the rest of the game. We'll see who's going to be able to grab that damage for themselves, because especially with things like Equalizer, if you can get the soul for Infernal Drake, that is a huge, huge buff.
And it's brilliant for Dominus as well because, as we said, that single damage carry, if you can get that AoE burst, a little bit more damage for that carry, it's going to work wonders. They've already got up to 2 Mountain Drakes as well, so getting close to that part where Vici need to start to put a little bit of a burner under themselves to stop DMO from picking up the Dragon Soul.
And this is all, that's just talking about the soul as well. Obviously, Infernal, just great. Like, it's just damage. You can never really say no to just damage. There is no composition in the game that doesn't want just damage, you know, so definitely going to be a contested objective later on into the game, but it's important to mention the strategies coming out from the 2 teams here, because when you look at the side of DMO, they are looking towards the later stages of the game. Look at Xiaowei's build. He's got a Rod of Ages in there. He's going to be trying to stack up, so he's not really going to be hitting a huge power spike for a good while yet. And the same with Gala. This is a carry. Aphelios, you want to get a few items on him before you're really looking to get into these fights.
And that's why we're looking at them try and stall out this game. They're moving Gala to mid to just pick up the farm, having Xiaowei off in the side lane to keep the Rumble in check. The reason they're putting the Zillion up there is because of the speed up and the revive and everything else. It makes Xiaowei a little bit more slippy than Natural to try and play against. But
nice, nice from Forge here. Goes for the Equalizer just to clear the wave. He realizes that he's about to be dived, and he's like, okay, here's how we do this. Get rid of the minions, stop the dive happening.
Yeah, that definitely is one way to cork any sort of aggression that is coming your direction. They've now moved Ike's up to be in that role of supporting the top lane and making sure that they're okay. But DMO, as you said, happy to let this one stall out for just a little bit. Really, the Baron is going to be the next big objective that we see these teams trying to keep control of. I know the Dragon is up and available, but once we crest that 20-minute mark, you can't lose control of the top side of the map.
You certainly can't. We'll see if they're going to be able to hold onto control there. Forge going to be re-entering in this top side just to make sure the turret doesn't go down just yet, but Baron going to be spawning in 2 minutes time, so keep your eyes on that corner of the map.
There is the potential for DMO, if they want to have Natural, when he's split pushing the bottom lane, get Xiao Peng to roam down and try and get a gank onto Cube. You've got Xiaowei, who can do a great job of clearing out waves super effectively, and you've also got Gala there with the Infernum, so they could clear out waves so in the mid and the top, so then there's no response from Vici. But now that they're on this Rift Tower, if they pick up this, they could potentially get another turret and make that play even easier before the Baron is up.
Vici Gaming don't want to let this one go for nothing though. Double stun coming out from Aches, and he's going to get engaged on by Mark. In goes the Dominus though, and that's going to be 1 kill going the way of Xiaowei. In comes the Cataclysm. Look at the AoE, but they just don't have that much damage yet. That is going to be a great ultimate coming out onto Xiao Peng though, and he flashes away with his life. DMO with just 1 kill, but they're happy to get it.
It's onto the jungler as well, and now with pretty much everything burned across the board, they should be able to push this one in. They need Forge to get across here to try and clear out the wave, but unfortunately Rumble is melee range to try and clear that out essentially, so no one to clear out the minions means this turret will go down.
It certainly will. The Herald will be finished off before it gets a second charge here, but great play from DMO. They get the Herald, they get a pick on top of it, they get the mid lane tower, and now Natural, just as a cherry on top of the cake, is going to be able to grab a red buff.
And now it becomes so difficult for Vici to try and keep control of that topside tower as well. They'll be able to back away as DMO and get vision in that topside jungle. But we're going to see the play here where Ike's goes for the big fight onto Mark. But Mark's happy to tank that up. The Rumble ults the equalizer, doesn't really get as many people as he would like low. And with Xiao Wei on the backside as well, able to keep the Jarvan up, it's a quick catch for DMO.
Certainly is, and you can see in the inventory of Xiao Wei, he's starting to snowball up a little bit. He's got that GLP in his inventory as well, and the Rod of Ages is starting to get those stacks.
We can see though, again, it's more towards supporting the rest of the team. This isn't damage, this isn't Rabadon's death cap that's coming out. It's the GLP to try and slow people down. And the big problem that I saw in that last fight was the damage wasn't really quite there. Once Ike's went down, trying to take down anyone else wasn't available. So we're still waiting on Gala to try and stack up these abilities, or sorry, these items even, before those abilities are going to have a big impact in these team fights.
I think the biggest issue we had there was the Moonlight Vigil from Gala missed. When you miss that key ability, Aphelios' damage is just nowhere near as impactful. Once he finishes that IE though, and looks towards getting a Hurricane as well, if he can get a Moonlight Vigil with the Infernum inside a Cataclysm, you can really start to see where that damage comes through.
Yeah, the gears are turning and people are just being like, oh yeah, that's going to hurt pretty quickly. And then you throw in a double bomb from the Zillion on top of that. That's a wall of death right there.
Yeah, and not to mention you've got Leona throwing CC across the entire team with the Solar Flare as well. This is all assuming a perfect scenario though, because on the other side of things, you've got Supreme Display of Talent to stop this. You've got Maestro on the Braum. If there's one thing Braum is good at, it's stopping you doing whatever it is you want to do.
I know. I think that's the beauty of League of Legends, is you look at some of these things on paper and you're like, this is OP. This could really work. And then you see it in action and you're like, that's not the way I planned that to go.
Well, we've been talking about VG stylistically. We've been talking about how Koma likes the team to play a little bit slower, likes them to kind of play towards the later stages of the game. It's very much been the case so far in this one.
They need to play it a little bit smarter, because there's no way the Forge can hold on to this top lane turret. Yes, you've used the equalizer, so it's delaying the inevitable off of one wave. But after that, oh, well, actually, DMO are just going to tank this one up to take the tower down. If Forge had stayed up there, though, there's a potential for DMO to collapse, get the kill, then get the turret as well, and have full control of that top side just as Baron is spawning. So now, Vici need to start looking at how are we going to try and defend this map. You've lost your Ring of Outer turrets, you're starting to lose vision control, and you've got two objectives you've got to keep your eyes on, both Baron and Infernal Drake, because you're going to give across that Infernal Soul to DMO if you give that one up. Vici are starting to really get into a bit of a bind here.
Well, when we take a look across the scoreboard right now, we started things off today talking about iBoy versus Gala. Each and every time these guys have met in the last couple of years, it's gone the way of iBoy. Gala managed to win out a series against EDG, but in the lane, it was not about him. It was all about iBoy. This time around, he actually left lane with a sizable CS advantage. He left lane with iBoy having a death on his record as well. Things are looking pretty good for Gala in this game, and he's on that late game carry.
And this is where it's the opportunity for Gala to show why he was the big carry for DMO, because once again we're seeing him in that position. They have started up the Baron here. Vici have a bit of an inkling this is happening.
DMO just getting a free Baron right here. 3,000 remaining, still yet to get a proper check here. Equalizer comes on in, but the smite is good. Xiao Wei going to be trying to body block. It's going to be Chrono Shift onto his Renekton here. Xiao Peng cannot die just yet. Cube going to be charging on forwards. The vision doesn't hit anyone though. Finally, Xiao Peng is going to go down. Mark is trapped at the back of the pit, trying to get the recall off. Does have his flash available. Just trying to get away with that one. I like that from Mark.
Bit of a cheeky one, but they say, oh, hi, Mark. Spot him at the back of the pit. Managed to force the flash out of him, but DMO, Baron for a kill on the jungler, they're going to be delighted with that one.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a very nice pickup there for DMO. They've got 3 dragons. Now they've got a Baron as well. It has to be said, they swapped junglers coming on into this series, and Xiao Peng has been on it with the objectives.
And now that they've got that Baron buff objective, they can look towards the Infernal Drake as well. 2 minutes on the Baron buff, 1 minute until that Infernal Drake spawns. Still an entire 60 seconds essentially for DMO to use the advantages that the Baron buff is going to give them to secure the Dragon Soul, and DMO are looking very much in control of this game.
And you have to bring it back to the draft as well. You have to remember that Vici targeted Xiao Peng and targeted Xiao Wei in the draft. Xiao Wei got multiple bans against him. Xiao Peng had his Nidalee and that Gragas banned away against him as well, but it has not stopped them. This Zilean pick for Xiao Wei has looked pretty great so far. He's done a great job of just stalling things out, and Xiao Peng has been totally in control of the jungle match.
And we can see why DMO were happy enough to give the Qiyana across to Vici here as well. They knew, look, that Qiyana can't really do a huge amount in the early stages of the game as long as we work correctly. Xiao Peng can do much more if we do find these skirmishes, and playing very heavily towards that bot side meant that the game plan has worked so well for DMO. They find themselves 3k gold up at 25 minutes and now potentially looking at that Infernal Drake as well.
Alright, well, right now, DMO are setting up for this Infernal Dragon, and I'm not sure there's much that VG can do about this one. I think this will just go down uncontested here. And when we look at the state of the game right now, every objective is going the way of DMO. Dagda, what is the game plan for VG? How do you come back into a game like this?
I wonder where Vici are, to be perfectly honest. They just handed over that Dragon Soul. Now they're running around in the top lane to see if they can try and get some picks for someone clearing out the wave that Forge is putting in. But it means that they've left themselves completely open to mid.
Where have they gone? There's nothing
I don't understand.
Upside right now. They're just giving up at tier 2 in the mid lane. In the meantime, Natural's pushing in the bottom lane as well. This is a... I'm a little bit speechless here.
This is the same reaction I had when I saw Dominus give over that 11-minute inhibitor. I don't know what they're doing yet.
They're the ultimate being that every time you do something to them, they figure it out. Now they're going to be bringing this inhib push to the bottom lane. DMO pushing on forwards. This tower is not going to last long. Maestro cannot stand his ground here. And this is going to be an inhibitor taken. In the meantime, Forge split pushing on Rumble is just not the answer.
I'm baffled. I thought Vici would at least try to do something, but I suppose they realized, look, with the composition that we've gone for here, we don't really have the wave clear built into our comp to force these guys back, particularly when they have a Baron buff. So they just think, okay, we'll try and trade back and forth, but Inhibitor down on the bottom side of the map with only 2.5 minutes until Baron, they're going to have to try and figure out how to play around this Inhib being down with Baron up and losing out on the team fights regardless.
Baron's going to be up in 2 minutes' time. DMO are going to be looking to grab that one for themselves, and that could be the objective that ends the game. However, things are not done just yet. There's a bottom lane inhib down, and granted, that Infernal Soul is going to be a huge issue for VG to deal with in the team fights. But you have to bear in mind, team fights can very much come down to one person getting picked off before things happen. There is still hope for VG.
The thing is, though, we're now looking at those crucial items coming in. Gala's just picked up the Runin's Hurricane. The Rabadon's Death Cap is nearly completed for Xiao Wei as well. And the GA for a natural on that top side. You've now got to not only kill the Croc once with the revive from the GA, now you've potentially got Xiao Wei coming in as well with another revive for someone else. This team is like having a second form for your final boss where you got to kill them once and then stage 2 comes.
Not to mention as well that the Chrono Shift coming out from Xiao Wei, the more AP you get, the more HP that person will come back with. Natural's going to come back on pretty much full HP from the likes of that Chrono Shift. Now, onto another inhibitor. Baron has ended, but I don't know if that's going to stop DMO right here. Equalizer's on cooldown, so VG can't fight. Yeah,
you can see the issues that they're having with clearing out these waves, with the next one starting to come in. Chakram still on Gala as well. He can very quickly take down this turret. Severum is going to give him that attack speed and the move speed that he needs to start playing around the edge of what Vici are capable of throwing his direction.
And DMO just need to play this slow. They've got supers pushing in the bottom lane. They've just sent Xiao Wei to go and push this mid lane out. Once this starts to collide with the tower in the mid lane, that's their opportunity to really pressure in the top.
And we've got to look at Vici under, we're saying Coma is at the head of this team. This does not look like a team Coma is in charge of. Sloppy play, not playing around not playing to their strengths in a lot of situations, but also even in the draft phase, leaving themselves high and dry when it comes to wave clear against the amount that DMO have right now is really hurting out Vici. Baron back up on the cards. easily going to be able to turn around, and I don't think Vici are going to be in a position to even touch this pit before that Baron is gone.
This is going to be the Baron going down here. TP coming out from the likes of Forge. They're hoping for a miracle right now, but I don't know if they've got enough time. They need to get on in. Xiao Wei's been caught out slightly here, but he backs away. Mark is still alive. Equalizer, huge stun onto everyone. But do they have the damage to finish these kills? Mark walks away. Gala's the first one to go down. It's a huge kill coming out for Fiji. Maybe they can turn this game. iBoy trying to chase down Xiao Wei. As Natural comes back to life, but he will be finished off. It was just the GA, not the Chrono Shift. Chrono Shift still available after the fight is lost, and DMO go down.
Xiao Wei went the wrong direction at the start of that fight. He actually moved up in towards the back of Red Pit, which meant when the fight kicked off, there was no Zilean to provide safety. Gala gets dove on the second Vici realized this, and now Vici can turn on towards this Baron.
The last hope play coming out from VG pays off huge. Xiao Wei looking for a quadra kill. The damage is going to be there. He has the death cap. Can he finish anyone off, though? That's going to be the question. Bombs go on in. Maestro's going to go down. Forge is the next target. The Infernal Drake doing so much work as Xiao Wei making the plays. Xiao Peng is here to support his mid laner as well. iBoy dodges the bombs, though.
He's running out of...
Oh, look at him chase him down. Oh, my days. The triple kill for Xiao Wei.
Get over here, Xiao Wei says, chasing after the AD carry. And DMO, what looked like a horrific throw, bring the game back and now start up the Baron again. Munch my heart.
It was all just the long con. Xiao Wei, he'd looked into the future. He'd seen 4 billion different alternate realities and he'd realized this was the one that led to victory. He comes back on the Zilean, gets the triple, gets the Baron.
GA, who are you? Xiao Wei coming up clutch. This was a big mistake here from that mid laner, though. Moving up into the top side, we said already, meant that they didn't have Zilean here to try and help out in this team fight, and that's why we see DMO struggling. Flanks on too many sides means that Gala goes down, and Xiao Wei is kind of a no factor. But with that Chrono Shift still up and available, could rejoin the fight, could turn it around again, and now we get to see a rinse and repeat of that fight, because Dragon is up and available, but pushing the mid lane. DMO not looking to try and go for that objective just yet.
Yeah, I think this is wise from DMO. Just basically say, look, let's none of us go for Elder Dragon, because that's the only way that you can win this game right now. If we just use this Baron, just push in Hips instead, don't allow you to even think about that team fight objective, we can't lose.
They're just going to lose. No, go towards the tower. Vici, save the tower.
Here we go. They're just going to try and end the game right here. The last Nexus tower has already gone down. The first one was already dropped. Nexus is bare. All they need to do is wait for the next minion wave. Moonlight Vigil doesn't do too much, though. Stun coming in onto Xiao Wei. He goes down without a Chrono Shift. Now onto the rest of the backline. iBoy does manage to get the first kill there, as he's trapped in a Cataclysm. His ult does a good chunk of damage, but he's surrounded, he's outnumbered, and the game is going to end. It's going to be DMO taking the first one in this series.
And a confident performance from DMO as well. Having the game plan of, we got Xiao Wei in the mid lane, going to leave him there. Xiao Peng, it's all on you to get down. Get Gala ahead on this Aphelios, and with the push power that Zilean had created in the mid, able to join in every scenario that was needed. They find the victories in the bottom lane, they push that into a Rift Herald, and they push that into a victory overall.
Yeah, and you see Xiao Wei go down in that last fight. He was actually the majority of the damage for the team, but you have to remember that Gala has Aphelios. They're not going to be shy on damage if the Zilean is the first target of the fight, and I mean, just look at the gold graph there. This was all about DMO having complete control.
And what a way for Xiao Wei to come back into the team. We even talked about it, Xiao Wei being more of a supportive mid laner. The highest damage in the game by quite a large margin on the Zilean to boot as well. If you're looking for another band to add to your list, Coma, I think Zilean's one that you got to look at.
Yeah, suddenly this mid laner, while he may be a little unorthodox, he may not pick the same things as everyone else. He is not easy to ban out. He is not easy to play around.
No, and it's wondering what in the hell is happening in the Vici camp. Because you're seeing the draft didn't leave them a huge amount of wiggle room if they did fall behind. They didn't have the wave clear to try and do anything. It was all on Rumble, who was tossing out an equalizer to clear out minions, which meant they couldn't take a team fight. They couldn't find the engages that they wanted with the supreme display of talent. And you're looking at that as not only the draft, well then, how do they play around once they were falling behind, leaving mid lanes open, losing out on inhibitor or Nexus turrets as well, just without a fight? Where'd they go?
It felt like there was no definitive game plan there. It felt like they hadn't quite figured out what their win condition was throughout the game, because there was no impetus on, okay, this is our next objective. It was just, okay, let's react to what they do. And the one big play that we saw come out from VG, they fought them at the Baron Pit. And it was a good fight for them until Zhao Wei just blew them all apart on the Zillion. But, I mean, when we take another look at the draft, look at the bans that came out from VG. That's the most important thing, because Zhao Wei was targeted, Zhao Peng was targeted. Both of them had a fantastic game.
And I felt like Vici weren't expecting the picks that we saw from Dominus. Even we weren't during the draft as well. We looked and go, okay, Kiana's open, they're probably going to pick that up. And then Kiana manages to make it the whole way through to the second pick phase. That was not
That was just a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah, I mean, it worked. You saw they had a game plan for it. They knew that if we get Xiao Peng to play around that bottom side of the map, the Kiana can't have the same amount of influence, and Jarvan's just going to be the stronger pick in those early before level 6 ganks, and look at the results.
Yeah, and when we look at that bottom lane, again, it's what we've been talking about throughout the game. Gala versus iBoy. I would say this time iBoy was the one falling behind there. iBoy was the one that couldn't really have an impact in the game, and Gala doing his work on that Aphelios, getting the damage out during those late game team fights.
And that's the thing with the Senna, is that you tend to fall behind in lane, but it doesn't really matter because you are that utility style AD carry. The heals, the slows, the shields, and you do provide a decent chunk of damage, but nothing on the scale of the likes of the Aphelios. So I didn't really mind iBoy falling behind, but it was just the fact that Xiao Peng had such a big impact in getting Gala that far ahead was the big difference.
It felt a little bit like if the equalizer wasn't perfect, you're not going to win that team fight. That's going to be game 1 under wraps, though. And we'll have to find out if DMO can finish things off here. If VG are going to be able to come back with a new draft strategy right after this.